No, I allowed myself to get embroiled in this it's a stupid thing. Just arguing back and forth with this guy, and I allowed it to, annoy me too much, more than what I normally do. And I don't know, it was just kind of dumb. You ever do something you just like the whole week I just feel like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah, but I have a saying for that, right? Whenever I start to, whose fun is it? It's my fun. If I am enjoying causing trouble, it's my fun.
Hey,
Whose fun is it? Mine.
that's right.
Am I entertained? Move on.
Are you not entertained? Yeah, I'm gonna stare at the mirror and say that from now on. Every time
Right? Right?
are you not entertained? Yes, I am. I'm very entertained.
Right? Right?
Yeah. 1 minute ago. Oh, so 1 minute ago, Glenn Beck posted on Facebook, RFK Jr. claims narrow victory in Senate confirmation hearing.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
1 minute though. Dude, he's
He's
already
a
been
little
sworn in.
late.
Yeah,
I,
he's already
I
been sworn in.
yeah. I don't. Maybe he's just posting an article about it. So
Perhaps, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
keep,
maybe.
keep up. Keep up.
Yeah, Beck. Jeez, he should listen to the breakdown.
Oh my
I got
gosh.
about 25 seconds.
Now you're starting. Now you're talking about it's not our fun anymore.
Oh, duh, I just pulled up Facebook. I'm gonna post this up. Okay. Let's see. I guess I ought to get the show playlist set up here. All right. Let's go.
Ready?
Welcome to the breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker, broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible study and sent to therapy. Thank you all so very much for the opportunity to be in your vehicle, office, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse, wherever it is you may be listening to the broadcast today. Big stuff for the day. The Today Show is so big. So many great things we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the Golden Goat controversy that I got myself embroiled in on Facebook. A little bit from Bill Burr. That guy is like the honey badger of comedy. Love that guy. We've got the most creative way that somebody can try to get out of jury duty, and it came from a judge. We'll be talking about that as well. All kinds of other programs and all kinds of other things to discuss today, and really looking forward to getting into that with everyone today. By the way, as always, joining us is the lovely misinformation herself, Erica Sauer. Good morning, Erica. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Any wonderful, fantastic things happened to you this week?
No, I'm struggling with old people this week. That's my, how to deal with a business partner who might be losing his memory a little bit. Anybody have advice? Let me know.
Oh, you know what? I was actually going to do like a like an Alzheimer's walk, like a marathon, but I forgot all about it.
Oh my God, that's terrible. No, I mean, like that's my drama this week where I'm having conversations to the effect of we never talked about that. And I'm printing out 17 pages worth of emails where we talked about it. Like, don't come at me with we never talked about that. Right?
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
But people use that even if they're not losing their memory. They're like, "Nah, we never talked about that. I don't remember talking about that."
Well, I will tell you one lesson that he learned, and he's known me for a long time. Excuse me. But this is probably the first time he's learned this lesson. If I walk out of the room and you say, come back in here, we're not finished, then please know the gloves are off. And I think he probably learned that. And the next time I walk out of a room, he will give me a minute to reassess before challenging me to we're gonna have this conversation until it's over. Okay. Game on.
It's like next time you'll allow me the time to gather my thoughts because I mean, like there's so many times that's happened to me. Like people have been like, I did that at work one time years ago. I had a manager and I was having a conversation with him, and this kind of manager that was like, if she walked out on the floor, it was a call center. If she walked out on the floor and made an announcement, she considered that a conversation with you that was the stepping stone to a disciplinary action if you did something wrong. And she called me into her office over something one time, and I had she then was like, hold on just a second, and pulled in another manager with her. And I was like, okay, well, I know what this is. This is the beginning process of a disciplinary action. So I was just like, I need a few minutes to just kind of gather my thoughts, because at that point I was just I was so livid and so like kind of like just blindsided that I was just like, you know what, we're going to. I just need a few minutes, and she let me though, which is really I say cool, but whatever. I just sometimes you just need that moment to kind of stop and to think and to gather your thoughts before you say things that you're really going to regret.
Right. Or but he literally was like, I suggest you come back in here because we could talk about this till I get all the way home at 5:30 this afternoon so we don't ever have to talk about it again. And I was like, okay, I'm walking back in. This is
All right, sir.
yeah, exactly. Like, the thought in my head was, You're making me be mean to you. You're you're making me be mean to you." That's where we're at. But, the week ended well. And you know how men are.
No, I don't know, Erica. Tell me how men are.
When you're right and they know that you're right, instead of apologizing, and saying, "You know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I overreacted. I didn't remember," or whatever the appropriate response should be. It's like, they just act like, nothing happened, like, "So that's that. I actually got that statement. Have a nice weekend." So that's that. I'm like
I do that all the time. Like if Allison and I get into an argument about something, and like and I know that I'm obviously in the wrong or something like that,
Mhm.
uh, that I just kind of you just like if an hour later or so, if the tensions are still high, just kind of like, hey, is the dishwasher still in the kitchen? Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Just like anything to make conversation that has nothing to do with what actually happened. And for some reason, by the way, I have up until like right before I went on air, we were broadcasting on the Crusade channel. I have no idea what's going on. I'm trying to work with my computer right now, like my MacBook, which is where this is feeding in for the feed over there. So I am dreadfully sorry to anybody that listens typically over on the Crusade channel, which, by the way, you can catch us over there live radio the way it should be by going to crusadechannel.com. And you can also check us out on Rumble. We are back on YouTube, by the way, but don't leave because I like you on Rumble instead, because I get to do ads over here. We get paid like 3 cents per ad, which is really, really awesome. So happened. I like that. And, after today's show, I'm pretty sure that people's reaction after today's show is going to be all the, and that reaction is going to be this right here. Man, I tell you, this is really, technology loves me today, Erica.
I don't think it does. You just dropped out,
What is going on here?
and then you came back.
Yeah, I've got a multimedia extravaganza planned for today, and it's not letting me. It's not letting me show any of the multimedia extravaganzas. So we're going to. I guess we're going to have to. Oh, you know what I'm doing? That's not it. I know what I need to do. That's what I need to do. Here is going to be everybody's reaction to the show today when they get done and they ask how people are doing.
Deep. People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
That's right, folks. People
Oh my god.
people are aroused, and that maybe it's just something about Chuck Schumer's tone of voice that just gets you.
People are aroused. I haven't seen.
Chucky. Oh, that's so nice, Chuck.
Does he have a minion? Is what?
That is actually Micro Wrestler. Silver chair. That's who that is. I mean, look at
Aw,
this. She's wearing even.
Chucky, I want one. Where'd you get it?
I mean, they're actually. I think what he has is he has somebody. He has the camera angle where it is, and then he has somebody shorter than him to make him look like he's super tall.
He's
But
standing on a step for sure.
people are aroused, Erica. People are really, really aroused today, and
Aren't
I'm glad
they?
I
I
haven't seen
mean,
this aroused in so long. So
yeah. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that, you know, Chuck Schumer hasn't aroused anyone of the female persuasion in quite some time.
you talk about. I know that you reached out. I think was it you that reached out about Macron's wife, or no, it was
I did.
you posted
I
that thing
did.
from Candace Owen.
Yes, because I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent. I know we didn't plan to talk about this, but Candace Owen is literally on a hill, willing to die on the fact that Emmanuel Macron's wife is a man. And I was under the impression that this, although she's a pedophile, right? Like she's 35, she was his teacher, correct? At least that's what I thought. I thought he married his teacher.
No, I didn't know that. No,
I
I
believe
guess I
that they
would.
had a sort of an inappropriate relationship where she was his teacher or something like that, but I did not know about this whole man thing, and then it went further, like, there's footage of how they're like, "Look how JD Vance refuses to, like, hug her when they went over there, and he won't, like, shake her hand." Like, he's like, "I'm not kissing that man on the cheek."
Are you
Like,
serious?
because you know how the French do that, right? So everyone's shaking hands and he's like, "Yeah, no." But that could be anything, who knows? She could have said, "I'm sick. I'm not feeling well, we probably shouldn't." You know what I mean? I don't know,
Yeah.
because there's no audio, but I just couldn't believe that someone like Candace Owens would be willing to die on the hill that says that his wife is a man. I mean, they say that about Schumer's husband all the time.
Yeah, like I have a picture up there right now about of Schumer's husband, and um, there's
Yeah.
that, and then there's this one where I mean, it looks like who does that looks like? Gosh, it looks like an actor of some sort.
Yeah, I know who you're thinking of, it's the guy one of the guys in Ghostbusters, in the original
Rick
Ghostbusters.
Moranis?
No, no,
Oh,
no, no, the tall guy, one of the actual
oh,
Ghostbusters.
oh, Spengler. Oh,
Yeah,
he played him. Is this
but, I mean, her and I'm telling you, Big Mike is back. If you have seen pictures of Michelle and Barack lately, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Big Mike is all out there.
here we go. This is actually a picture of Chuck Schumer's wife when they met. That's
That's what it reminded me of.
like that's Chuck Schumer's wife, and to be honest with you, that's the reason. That's the reason he hasn't seen anybody aroused in a long time. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that. just pointing out the obvious.
Oh
Just
my
saying
god.
the obvious here.
It's
But
so
yeah,
disgusting.
my father-in-law was talking about that. Like we joke around about Big Mike, because so many people have said that same thing about Michelle Obama, and that's another thing. I would really just love to go on a foray of all that stuff and just like dig deep into those rabbit holes, because politics is as today are just so just gross, like just absolutely. I don't know. I'm just getting fed up with what's going on out there.
I live in the rabbit hole. I come up for air. I come up and see normal people every now and then, but I think I pretty much live in the rabbit hole at this point.
I'm done with the regular world. But I mean, because like this type of news story right here, this is what I'm talking about. This is a guy. You're just out kayaking, just enjoying your time, just hanging out, and you get swallowed by a blue whale. It happens. It happens. Here, check this out. This was the situation this guy found himself in when he was out kayaking, and this was his son. Gulp.
¡Hey! Ya, vente, vente.
The whale just opens his mouth,
Tranquilo, agarra el bote, agárralo,
swallows the
tranquilo,
kayaker,
agárralo.
and then spits him out.
Well, yeah,
Just spits him out.
he looks like a seal. The whale comes up from underneath. That looks like a seal. You eat it. You're like, whoa, that ain't a seal. And you spit him out.
He's like, oh no, it's that healthy crap. I don't want that.
Come on, listen. I mean, there's a big difference between human and plankton. Well, by the way, but I stand by. You're a big cruiser, so I don't want to get into an argument with you. But I don't have gills. You do not belong there. You do not belong there. And what in the world are you doing kayaking in whale watching territory? What in the world? Come on, use your brain.
That would be awesome, though. Like,
Well,
I think
yeah, I'm sure it would be. You just got swallowed by a whale. I bet he thinks it's pretty awesome. He needs to change his wetsuit now.
but the funny thing is, like, he goes, the first thing he noticed, it wasn't the darkness, it wasn't the fact that he was under like water in this thing's mouth. He said the first thing he noticed was the slime. He said, I spent a second realizing I was inside the mouth of something, that maybe it had eaten me, that it could have been an orca or a sea monster. He said that he started to think how he might survive inside the humpback whale like Pinocchio. I didn't even think about Pinocchio. I thought about Jonah.
He wasn't in there for that long.
No, he wasn't. But that's like a terrifying 3 seconds, though. Like, probably the most terrifying 3 seconds of this 23-year-old's life. It says a Venezuelan kayaker had been paddling through the Strait of Magellan off Chile's Patagonian coast with his father when he felt something hit me from behind, closing in on me and sinking me. His father captured the short-lived ordeal on video. He said, I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I realized I was inside the whale's mouth. I felt a slimy texture brush my face. Oh, gosh, that's horrible. Adding that all he could do was see dark blue and white. I wondered what I could do if it had swallowed me, since I could no longer fight to stop it. He had to think about what to do next. He said he felt as though he was rising towards the surface, a little afraid, blah, blah, blah. Realized it hadn't eaten me. I mean, that's probably a really good day. Like, you're like, hey, having a great day kayaking with my dad. Holy crap, I'm eaten by a whale. Poof. Oh, I'm back to kayaking with my dad. It's a very eventful Tuesday.
I mean, I'm just gonna never again. Never again. I probably wouldn't do it in the first place. What are you doing kayaking in the Straits of Magellan? Does it not just seem, pick a pond, find a pond?
Yeah, that's we're like over here in Kentucky, where the biggest thing you could get eaten by is a giant catfish.
Come on, we've got Great Lakes. We've got places that are large natural bodies of water that don't have creatures that can eat you in them.
Yes. I mean, there are some like around there. There's a dam over here that is rumored to have, or what legend says, has like these massive catfish that are like the size of a VW bug, because they just sit over there at the dam and eat all the time. But speaking of which, have you seen those videos of those folks like noodling?
Yeah.
Where they like that is
Yes.
that is crazy. Like, I'm all for fishing. I'm fine with that. But I
No.
don't know if I want to let something eat my arm.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm telling you, stop it. You do not belong there. That you are no longer on the top of the food chain, and what happens to you happens to you. That's a risk. You should sign a waiver and just be done with it.
I mean, like, it's something innocent like fishing, and people are like, probably a dude, like, how can we make you dumb? Well, hold my beer.
I mean, you know how you kill a spider in the bathroom, you throw it in the toilet and flush it? That's how I feel when I'm on a cruise ship. I am the spider.
Really?
Yes.
I've only been on 2 in my entire life, but they are so fun. I'm going on another one.
Absolutely not. Rogue waves.
Rogue
waves. Rogue waves.
You're not in the North Atlantic Ocean or anything.
I don't know that they're limited to the North Atlantic Ocean. Like, I need to be able to see and swim to land should catastrophe take place.
Well, they do have those little lifeboats and stuff. I saw those. I remember seeing those. I felt like Rose. Well, they'll be able to fit all the people on board. Oh, of course.
Have you seen the people on cruise ships too? Like, there is no way that those people paid attention to that safety meeting we all had to have 15 minutes after we got on the ship. Okay.
Like they
Like,
didn't even
no,
have that by the time I took cruises, they didn't even have it. You just had to go check in where your emergency, like every floor, every room or whatever, like they section it off and you have like a particular emergency place where you meet. I just had to do that. We just went over there. We showed them our room card, I think. And then they were like, okay, you're good. And then that was it. They didn't show us how to use the life preservers. They didn't show us how to get onto the lifeboats or whatever. They didn't show us anything. I think they were probably thinking, they're like, yeah, you can come here, but in the event that we're sinking, you're screwed.
right.
You're like,
Oh yeah, I don't like it. I don't like, and I was, I don't even want to talk about the cruise that I went on because I shouldn't be complaining at all. But I don't like the noises that the ship makes. I don't like rocking back and forth. I don't like sitting in a chair and noticing that all the light fixtures and the curtains are moving. I don't like it. I don't like looking out into an abyss of darkness, knowing that everything in that water, I'm a meal. It's just, I don't want to be in a tuna can going down. I'm just not, no.
so now what about just regular, like would you go out on like a pontoon or anything like that, or would you just stay off the water period? Are you not a water
Oh
person?
no. I'm, I'll go, I'll go snorkeling, but I can't go under. I could never go scuba diving. I would have a panic attack.
Oh man. I am claustrophobic. However, I would absolutely love to be able to scuba dive. That's one of my bucket list. Like, I would, people are like, I want to learn to fly. I want to learn to scuba dive. Like that
I
would be amazing.
You could do that, and I don't mind, like, the big catamarans. I've cruised on those big catamarans before, like, from Florida to the Bahamas and back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's easy. I can do that. You can see land the whole time, by the way.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Like, the whole time. That's easy, right? And plus, there's not 5,000 people, there's 15 people, and, that's okay. That's okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't mind fishing, deep sea fishing. I'll do that.
Yeah. Never been deep sea fishing. But
I'll do that.
we did have to take a catamaran, like a 45-minute catamaran trip. Allison and I did on a cruise we went on, where we were in Cozumel, and we went to a private island, and it was just a private island, a beach, and a bunch of people went. It wasn't just us two. But we were on the catamaran. It's like a 45-minute trip. And like you said, you could see land. It was awesome. I loved it. And it was an open bar. And I absolutely loved that part too. But it was just like we were hanging out. Is Cozumel, that's not in the, that's not the Gulf of America. I think isn't that over in the Bahamas? Cozumel's Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were in the Gulf. And I had no problem. I love the Gulf. I love like Gulf Shores, Alabama. I love the western side of Florida, that side, better than the eastern side. But it was awesome. I mean, we had a blast. But anything that has to do with water or boating or being out in the middle of a boat and in the middle of nowhere, anything like that, I love it. I would, oh my gosh. In another life, and I am technically, by the way, not technically, I am the son of a sailor.
Oh my God.
I am. My papa was in the Navy. He was a sailor. So I'm the son of a sailor. Look at that.
Wow. I bet you waited your whole life to say that.
My entire life. And it wasn't until last year when I was able to, because when I worked at a faux Christian ministry, it was we lived on property. It was part of the package. So like we lived there, and I worked there as administrative director, and then they gave us a home to live in on the property. It just happened to be a double wide trailer. So I couldn't sing. So I'll search along, always looking for songs, not a lawyer, a thief, or a banker, then the son of a sailor. And then the part where he said, I'm just glad I don't live in a trailer. I wasn't able to sing that like to the fullness of my voice because I lived in a trailer. And then when I left there, I went to a banker job, and then I couldn't say I'm not a lawyer, a thief, or a banker. So that sucked too.
Yeah, I bet those were really disappointing moments. How did you ever get over it? I don't know how you recovered. The therapy must have been extensive and expensive.
I don't feel like you're understanding the depth of trauma I went through.
Call the old host back. I need someone to pick on.
I tell you, don't pick on me. Don't pick on me. Can't take it.
Oh my God.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty much what Allison was saying. She was like, seriously, she would probably be
Right.
mortified that I told people we lived in a trailer too, but she's not listening yet. She'll be down in a few minutes. All right, but here's another one. So Kendrick Lamar performed at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yep.
Everybody was like, "Oh, America's back! America's back!" I couldn't care less about that. There was still some Illuminati symbology and things like that, but I saw this, and I kept it in here because when I first followed the news story, it said that so there was a guy that was part of the cast that was dancing, and during one part of the show, he actually raised a flag, a Sudanese flag, and a flag that says something about Gaza. Here's the video. I'm gonna play the video for you so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. Said that he was detained because so it said that he was detained for waving the Sudanese and Palestinian flag. So they saw him, and you can see on stage, there's a woman that noticed him when he was on stage here, and they were coming at him right there. That woman right there, she chased him off stage. He jumps down here and then runs around for about 15, 20 seconds with this flag. And other people have flags too. But he's got this, and then the security notices him, and then in a moment they tackle him and take him out. The reason I found this story interesting was because when I saw it at the beginning of the week, they said that he could face charges. But what he actually got was a lifetime suspension from all NFL games, all NFL stadiums, everything. So he never gets to go back to another game and may not be able to perform in any of these ever again. But, c'est la vie. When you're an activist, things like that happen. We're going to take a quick break, and we get back more. So keep it locked in right here on The Breakdown.
Asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible studies and sent to therapy.
You're listening to The Breakdown.
I said there at the end, I was like, we'll be back with more. Like, I was going to say what more things you were going to talk about, but then I said absolutely nothing.
Most of that Super Bowl halftime stuff. Okay, so everybody was like, I can't even understand what he's saying. I miss old rappers. I didn't get that, whatever. So if you had a younger person in the house, that halftime show was something completely different, by the way. I didn't even see the guy with the flag.
Yeah, neither did I.
It's the only thing I watched from the Super Bowl was that. And apparently, there's like a whole bunch of drama going on with that. Kendrick Lamar was apparently in a battle with Drake,
Yeah.
and he has accused Drake of being a pedophile, and it's in the lyrics. And there's a lawsuit, and he was being threatened with a cease and desist not to sing that song during the Super Bowl halftime, and he did. And there's a whole subculture out there of people who are like, and he just won 6 Grammys for that album. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no shortage of songs on the album that are calling out Drake for minor activity.
Yes, that is like he had the thing about us. I was talking to Bree about this the other day, and we can talk about it a little bit more when we come back, which I don't know when that's going to be. So Drake has like a friendship relationship, grooming type relationship with Millie Bobby Brown, or he did when she was younger. And then
Yes.
when somebody said something to him about it, he's like, I didn't do anything to Millie Bobby Brown. And it was
Right.
like, well, you didn't do anything to her, but there were like other people that were saying that he was grooming them.
Yeah.
So it was
And
absolutely
it's
thing.
a big thing, and it's pretty well known. Like in the industry, there's not a lot of questions about it. And then they showed the video of Drake.
We're just not built for commercials, Erica.
I know. I
Not
don't
built
know.
for commercials and bumper music. We need to.
I need a clock.
What we need to just start the midweek show, and I'm going to say it on air. I'm going to say it on air. I'm going to pull a Rocky Stucci. I'm going to say it on air. So I have to do it. we're going to start a by the end of what is today's date?
It is the 15th.
All right, so by the end of February, Erica, we're going to start doing a midweek show, and it's going to be a subscriber only show through Substack.
Okay.
So I've been.
Are you threatening me? Wait, that's a threat. That means I have to get my Substack done.
No, you're good. We can do it through my Substack.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do it through my Substack. But like, I've been talking about it. We've been talking about it for years. You know, that's crazy. Like, we've been doing this show together for years. Like at least 3 years, right? Even if it were 2 years, it would still be years. It's plural. But regardless, I've been talking about this. I've been running my mouth about it. Now we've got to do it. And there's going to be a show, and it's going to have like one break so we can like, you know, get to the bathroom and fill up our coffee or something. And then we're going to just let it go. There's going to be no clock or anything like that. You think Joe Rogan's good? Wait till you get us, and you're going to be like, Joe Rogan is freaking amazing. No, but yeah, we're going to have to do that because honestly, the Substack is it is a great place to get all this information out, but it's also a great place for us to start generating some revenue for the show because, you know, this is a great hobby and I love doing this. I need to get, I need to step up the efforts and start doing a lot more work. And I want to get support from folks so we can do that and maybe have some fun and make a little bit of money. That's what it's all about here. So I think I'm being a little too transparent right now.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
All right, but there we go. So so the whole thing with Drake and the performance, there have been accusations against him for a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, and I can't, I'm here for it. I'm here for all the drama. Just let it play out. I'm just going to sit back and watch it. I love the fact that they showed Drake at a NBA game watching the halftime show of the Super Bowl on his phone and getting all pissed off. I just loved that. I thought that was cute. I don't know. I mean, I'm here for it. Bring the drama. They're all sickos. Just lay it all out. I mean, by the way, in case God, I'm just random stuff. Go ahead, please.
No, please continue. I'm reading the lyrics right now. Do they not like us? So please continue with your random ideas. It's a lot better than what I have planned, I'm sure.
Speaking of sickos and diabolical things, this is not something I'm going to suggest for anyone that is squeamish or doesn't really want to be more disappointed or more disgusted or more upset about what's been going on. There's a film out from Frontline Films. It's new. It's called What is a Doctor? It's diabolical. It's disgusting. I urge you to be careful. It really goes into the agenda on trans surgeries and children and the background of what they've been doing, and it will make you sick.
This is not the fact that it's saying that that's perfect, but what you're doing right now, I love this. I've been wanting to do this for a bit. So you're suggesting.
I'm suggesting that if you think you can handle it and if you think that the corruption that we've been finding out about just in the money has been, I don't know, psychologically damaging to how bad you thought it was, to how bad it really is, you don't want to watch this movie. It's sickening.
So that is, if you could, I'm looking for it right now. If you could send me a link. I've also got something that I was listening to today that I came across that I would love for you to watch. Like, I haven't watched it all yet. I'm only like a half hour into it, that I would love for you to watch. And then we can like get together and talk about it, like maybe do a show on these two things you're watching. I found a podcast called Beyond the Monsters. And it is a show. It is a podcast that is dedicated to people who have been in abusive relationships or suffered PTSD from sexual molestation or anything like that, or any kind of mental health issues, addictions, grief, etc. And one of the videos that they did was an interview. It was called "Groomed into Marriage and a Cult." A woman by the name of Holly Buss does this interview about overcoming her emotional abuse, manipulation, and religious grooming. So from the time that she was like early teens, before she was 18, she was a homeschooled woman or girl that had a 39-year-old high school teacher, like a kind of like a homeschool co-op type teacher that was grooming her, and then manipulated her mom, manipulated this young lady, Holly Buss. And when he was 39 years old, married her when she was 18, right when she turned 18. And then it talks about the emotional abuse, the manipulation, the control, the religious manipulation through the different aspects of what the creation mandate and the dominion mandate, etc. So I would love for you to watch that as well, and then us kind of talk about it, because it sounds insane.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so like send me the link on that movie that you're talking about, and I could put it in the show notes for other people to watch, and I'll drop the link of this interview for people to watch.
I don't want anybody coming at me. If you watch this, I want you to understand, I fully warned you that it is disturbing. Don't come at me and say, I can't believe you told us to watch that. I'm not. I'm telling you that it's hard. It's hard to watch.
And it's about
It's about the trans agenda pushed through the doctors towards it's children. It's about the kids.
Okay.
And what they did and what they've been doing.
Okay. Yeah, definitely interested in that. Definitely interested in watching that. I actually got into a conversation. I posted up on Facebook because there's a lot of people think, oh, he hates Donald Trump. No, I don't hate Donald Trump. There's a lot of great things Donald Trump did. I think we talked last year about the stuff we wanted to see him do. And he released the January 6th prisoners. He did that day one. I wanted to see him get Bobby Kennedy in there as the Health and Human Services Director. That happened this week. Bobby Kennedy was sworn in, and I'm so unbelievably excited about that. The HHS secretary, he was put in there, which is fantastic. And another thing that Donald Trump did, and it might be showy at first, it might just be like a just for show. However, some of these things that he's doing that are quoting fingers just for show are extremely important, because they're making a stand against things like this gender affirming care that they're trying to do. There were two things this week that I've seen, and I'm so glad you brought this up. Where is it? There was a story, I think it was on the Defender or Children's Health Defense, where Donald Trump was going to stop federal funding to hospitals that promoted the gender affirming care and then the surgeries, right? Am I right on that? Am I missing that, or is it something else?
No, that's right. They were going to stop federal funding to any hospital that was pushing these transgender surgeries on minors.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. And then I posted this back. What so many people don't see that I post on Facebook. They only see the negative things I post about Donald Trump. But I posted that the protecting children from chemical and surgical mutilation, that is a presidential executive order. And it's horrible that in our country we actually have to have an executive order that is considered extreme by people, but it's an executive order to stop hospitals from chemically and surgically mutilating people.
Right.
Especially children. And then they're like, oh, that's so mean. Trans kids are going to. No, this has nothing to do with loving or having grace or kindness or patience or ministering to people who are confused about their gender or their sexuality. It has nothing to do with that. This is all about literally protecting children from having their penises lopped off and their vaginas sewed up. I mean, how is that bad? I don't see any negative things about that. I mean, you would think this would be the one thing that people were like, yes, protect the kids. Yes, let's protect the kids.
We lead the world in abortion. Why would you think they want to protect the children?
Because in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, because in my mind, I can understand how somebody would say that a fetus is not a human or a viable human. Okay. I can understand that they can make the argument. I don't agree with it. This is not me endorsing or saying abortion is right. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but this is not me saying that abortion is right at all. I'm against abortion. I think there should be a constitutional amendment against abortion, banning it completely. I can see how people can make the case, right, with abortion. I don't see how people can make the case that it is okay to allow a young child and the parents to sign off on a young child literally mutilating their body.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's an apples to apples comparison. I'm just saying there's a level of depravity that we suffer from in American society that leans towards some really depraved behavior.
Yeah. It really is. It's heartbreaking because you post that up and you're like, hey, like, hold on, just say, pause the game just a second. I understand you hate Donald Trump, and I understand we all we did not like Kamala and Joe Biden. I understand that you're a libertarian and they're conservative and they're liberals, and I understand that you have disagreements on Israel, and I understand you have disagreements on Palestine. I see all of that. But hey, look at this little bright, shining moment where we can come together as a community and as a country and as a civilized society and say, let's not lop off penises and sew up vaginas of little children. How about that? And you still have people, that's absolute, and they melt down. And you're like, you can't even agree to protect children that are outside of the womb. Like, you don't want to protect them in the womb. You don't want to protect them outside of the womb. And you want to kill them when they get old.
It's a $1 billion industry to traffic them. They do not care about the children.
You see, but that's the elite. That's the elite. But
I
like
don't
me
think
and
that's
you,
just the elite.
Well,
Somebody has to give up there. Not every trafficked child is kidnapped.
yeah, but I
Okay?
mean, yeah, and maybe I'm naive, on this. But like, if I'm sitting in a room, I don't know, I'm waiting to get my tires or my oil changed or whatever, and I'm sitting there, and somebody is wearing a Bernie shirt or a Biden shirt or come out, whatever. Like, is that person? Do I assume that person is trafficking children? And I know that's not what
No.
you're saying. I'm
No.
just like you would think that normal people, like blue collar workers, me and you, and just average daily, everyday people that are just getting up in the morning and going to work and trying to take care of their families. You think those are the people that are not the sex traffickers?
You are naive.
Okay.
I'm just saying, okay, so I work in an industry where it's multifamily, okay? So if you have no idea what goes on out there. You have no idea what goes on out there in an industry where you have to inspect people's living arrangements and people's living areas. You have no idea how disgusting people are.
Tell me more about that.
Do we want that tangent? Is that where we're going today?
You know what? Make a note. And when we talk about this, what as a doctor, we will talk about, because now you have completely like intrigued. I'm aroused. I've not been this. No, I'm just playing. My curiosity is aroused.
I mean, you're gonna need to go get a garbage can and put a bag in it, because if you yes.
Gifted Guru says you do if they're wearing a Diddy shirt.
I mean, there is okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Okay, maybe they're not a child trafficker, but if I see someone wearing a Bernie shirt or a Kamala shirt or a Biden Harris shirt or whatever, I am absolutely making a character judgment. I'm not going to say you're trafficking children, but I'm saying that there is a certain amount of synapse and electrical connections in your brain that are not happening, that happen in a normal person's brain. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
I you know what? And that is, I probably a little Pollyanna about that, because I'm thinking now, like, because you look at it like a pyramid. The people at the bottom, the regular supporters of liberal causes and these transgender causes, etc. Those are typically, in my mind, the people who are the low level workers, the worker bees that don't understand what they're contributing to. And as you look up the layers, obviously on a pyramid, it gets smaller and smaller to top to where a small elite know what's going on. And that's the whole new world order, the elitist Illuminati cult that we talk about, right? But I just maybe I just don't want to believe that the average neighbor is doing this stuff, but I guess you're right. That is a little naive because I don't know. I mean, you don't know what kind of porn that they're watching. You don't know if there's a serial killer. How many killers do we pass on in our life? I think there's a statistic about that. Like the average person passes like 5 murderers in their life. You
Right.
think about the game show killer, and Allison and I just watched this thing on the highway, the freeway killer back in the 80s. That was William Bonin, that was driving around picking up, like young teenage boys, ages 12 to 17, and raping them and murdering them in the back of the truck while another guy was driving him around doing it. And it's like, maybe you're right. Maybe I misspoke. Maybe there's a lot more evil than what I want to admit from your local neighbors or your people that are running your convenience stores.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to call it evil. Oh, I would, but maybe some people would just call it weird. I don't know. I yeah, yes, I think it's a little bit naive. There is some very, very disturbing things that go on in people that in this situation are only separated from you by drywall and wood studs.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. You're listening to us on the Crusade Channel, live radio the way it should be. And you can go over there and check them out in the chat room. Let's see if we got anybody chatting over there with us today. Let's see. Iaconis says, truckers have some of these types mixed in, it appears. Most of these parents are clueless and unintelligent. Yeah, and he also says, pray for RFK in Tulsa to come around to the unborn. I agree with that. That is one of the things that I have a problem with RFK's position. It is consistent, and it's consistent with Trump's, the same thing with him. And let's see.
I think that anyone having a blind allegiance to any leader is dangerous,
Yeah.
right? You should be able, it doesn't matter what their name is. I think that what people need to really do right now, as Trump is keeping his promises and doing what everybody voted for him to do, people need to stop associating these victories and these gains with a person and more with the ideology and the philosophies and the moral and ethic decisions behind it, because that's what needs to move forward. Trump's going to die. And I'm not threatening him. I'm just saying he's not going to live forever. Okay. And
Yeah.
I joke about Barron Trump being the last American president, but that's just because I read a book. Okay. So you have to focus on the why instead of the who, or we're going to be right back where we started.
And I'm so glad that you say that, because we want it when Donald Trump does good things, we support that. We rah rah, we fist bump and fist pump, etc. Yes, when he does dumb things, when he does things that are that are either inconsistent or not helpful, we call him out on those. And that's really that's what I want. That's the kind of consistency I want. If RFK does something I don't like, I did not like how he kept reiterating how he was pro-vaccine the other day. The history that he's had has shown that it is not necessarily pro-vaccine, but it is definitely it seems to present that he's anti-vaccine, but he is pro-science. He wants legitimate tests done, etc. So there are certain things that he was doing that I wasn't happy with. But my point, what I'm trying to say is, we cannot create a cult and say that this one person is going to do everything that's necessary and they're going to save us, because like you said, they're going to die, and then the next person is going to step up. My gosh, help us if that's JD Vance. Hide your couches, your wives, your daughters, and your couches. But
Oh my God. That's my point though, right? Like, are you trying, and here's the thing, you're going to know pretty quickly whether or not it's going to work. You can executive order it backwards to a certain extent. But if you don't make laws out of some of the changes,
Yeah.
it's pointless.
Like, because you see what he did. You see what Trump did when he showed up on the very first day. How many of Biden's executive orders did he just erase?
Right.
And yeah, so there's got to be, like, that's one of the reasons why seeing these bills in Kentucky, which we could talk about that too. These bills in Kentucky that they're trying to pass to ban geoengineering. It happened in Tennessee. And this actually, I found this news story the other day and it infuriated me. But in order for us to protect the next generation, in order for us, like you're saying, Erica, to make sure that these things continue and that they are a consistent thing, is they have to be ensconced in law. So we see that this came out by Kentucky Public Radio, and I got so mad the other day that I almost. You just, and it's not healthy, but I was reading this news story. I got so mad, my eyeballs started to shake. They literally started to shake. I was so mad. And it says here, Kentucky lawmakers hope to follow Tennessee as the second state to ban what they call, quotey fingers, geoengineering, into quotey fingers. The theoretical concept to counter climate change that some baselessly claim is already happening as, quotey fingers, chemtrails. First off, that first paragraph right there is nothing but a triggering lie. All right. Geoengineering is not a theoretical concept. It is being done. Even if you don't believe in chemtrails, even if you don't believe that they're dispersing, metal particulates in the sky, which they are, or putting mercury and bromine and all these other chemicals into the sky, they are literally doing it. Bill Gates admitted to doing this. This is something that has been enacted. All right. So to start out a baseless claim like this, that it is not happening and that it's all theoretical, and then to essentially talk down to people. The entire article. The article goes on to say that 2 Kentucky lawmakers have filed identical bills seeking to follow Tennessee as the second state to ban what they call geoengineering, controversial methods to counteract climate change with atmospheric particulates that remain at the theoretical stage of academic debate. That's not true. They are actually doing this. It says some people, including the sponsor of the Tennessee bill that passed into law in 2024, believe such geoengineering methods are already happening and are being covered up, essentially rebranding the baseless decades-old conspiracy theory about so-called chemtrails. They're not baseless conspiracy theories. There is a movie called The Dimming. And not only do they show you the chemtrails that are being dispersed, it's actually, chemtrails is one of those words that they use as an insulting epithet to try to talk down to and discredit people. It's called stratospheric aerosol injections. There are videos of them doing this. There are videos of airplanes starting and then stopping and then starting the chemtrails up again. Not only that, but Dane Wigington, if you go to geoengineeringwatch.org, they got a plane from the NOAA, went up into the sky and followed behind one of these cloud trails, one of these chemical trails, and they pulled samples from it and tested it, and all of the chemicals and all of the metals that we've been saying for years are in them were in them. So it's not untested. It's not a decades-old conspiracy theory. It is being covered up. It is being done. And if we don't get a law that says you cannot chemically assault people like this in the sky, then the next president or the next governor of your state is going to continue to allow this to happen. Sorry about my tirade there. I'm really passionate about this. It really pisses
No,
me off.
you're absolutely correct. I think as a tie-in, the states need to wake up. Like, people need to start paying attention in their own local geographic areas, because when they lose the federal corruption and the watchdog and all the eyes are on them there, the states are going to be where they transfer all of this mess. And if you're not paying attention, they're going to take it away from you at the level where you actually can make a difference. You need to pay attention.
Yes, and so and that brings that begs the question: what are we doing, and what are we going to do? Not necessarily you and I, but what are people going to do about this? And here in Kentucky, Here in Kentucky, the Kentucky Medical Freedom Coalition Group is supporting this bill. They're raising awareness. Not only is it a bill about stratospheric aerosol injections, but they're also introducing a bill to make it illegal to put hydrofluorosilicic acid in water, which is fluoride in the water, which they say, well, it helps your teeth. No, it's a chemical byproduct. It's poison. The type of fluoride that they put in your water is not the natural occurring fluoride in the environment. It is actually a chemical byproduct, and it is acidic. It's an acid that destroys you. It kills you. It hurts you. It harms you. It hardens your pineal gland, which reduces your ability to have spiritual awakenings and spiritual thoughts, and to transcend your mortal plane of existence into the ethereal realm. There's all kinds of effects that it has on people.
It blinds your third eye.
It does. It puts a shade over your blind eye. Your third eye will never see.
Oh my God. All right.
Thank you. I went off and I needed to be brought back into a more calm position. My third eye was needed to be grounded
Your
again.
chakra needs to be adjusted.
I mean, but that really is the place that we need to do all this stuff. Okay, national politics extremely important. And probably maybe extremely, I say maybe that's a little bit of a heavy word, but very important. But local politics, what are we going to do in our individual states? What's going to happen here in Kentucky is going to affect the nation at all. And what
Now
happens
is the time.
Yes.
Too. Now is the time, people. It's not screaming into the wind right now, because you have the backing on the federal level to make some really positive changes.
That I feel like that. Oh, Iacona says, stay away from the new age stuff, please. Hey, the third eye is actually that we'll talk. I'd love to have a conversation about.
I was just kidding. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I said that out loud.
I'm the one that brought up the third eye thing, and I have a penchant. It's difficult for me because Eastern mysticism it intrigues me. I think it's weird and entertaining and engaging and such. But reading some of the satanic panic of the 1980s, looking back on that, the majority of that came from, of course, the like we talked about last week, Maury Terry and the connections that he made. But there was also within churches and within schools, there was a huge push for the occult and for the new age mysticism. Things like what people don't think about when you think about yoga. You have yoga, you have what's it called when is it visualization? I'm having a brain fart right here, where you visualize being successful, or you visualize making the winning touchdown.
It's manifestation.
Manifestation, thank you. Which evidently Patrick Mahomes could not manifest anything last week.
Yeah.
But we're actually coming to the end of the hour. But the amount of new age occultism and mysticism that was so blatant back then is now a part of everyday life, and it has crept into churches. Actually, it's not crept into churches. Some churches use their facilities for yoga classes. All right, folks, that's the end of the first hour. Stay with us. We got more stuff coming your way right here on The Breakdown. CrusadeChannel.com, live radio the way it should be. Stop it. I stopped it.
Oh, good job. I'll be right back.
Thank you. You got it. All right. Yes, Deb. Just to address that, it is in the queue. I promise you. It's sitting in the queue. It is ready to go. All I got to do is talk about that. Actually, we can talk about that when we get back, because it kind of goes along with the Eastern mysticism thing we were discussing. And let's see. I don't think we have a hot mic over there. But Iaconis over there is saying that calisthenics are better because the poses are demonic. Yeah, when you look into yoga and the poses of yoga, I'm pretty sure it's been a few years since I've studied this, but the positions invoke certain spiritual connections to the gods of Hinduism. They also have something to do with salvation and the way that you conduct your body, etc. It's really interesting. See, there's all kinds of this other great stuff we can be talking about. I'm actually I'm texting. If you hear that, I'm actually texting Allison right now on my computer, so that's why you hear that. Zoop. You know, we all have that one person, by the way, that we send stuff to that we would never, ever, ever go public with. You have that person that you text or that you talk to on Messenger or whatever, and it's that one person, and you're like, I would never ever post this on Facebook, but I'm going to share this with so and so. Yeah, I got 2 of them. One of them's my brother, the other one's my uncle. And it's like the crap we send back and forth to each other. Oh my gosh. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are on break. We will momentarily be silent. Maybe. Let me do this here. I'll do this. You can hear me tip, 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 tapping. Mute that real quick. All right, folks, I will be back momentarily.
That's funny, Audrey. I mean, I don't really want to do. Audrey, I wouldn't really want to do hot yoga in a church or goat yoga. Have you guys seen this? The goat yoga, but
Crazy
you know,
yoga stuff.
or the hot yoga. But I don't think those happen in churches.
The hot yoga that's just that's just where you turn up the heat, right? It's not like sexual yoga or anything.
Correct. I didn't know there was that. Thank you for ruining that's what the hell? No, not sexual. Hot as in temperature in the room.
Okay, because I'm a dude. Whenever somebody says hot yoga, I'm like, oh boy, okay. You know.
No, I'm no.
So, there's a couple of things. All right. First off, a year ago today, by the way, the actual 1 year anniversary is February 17th, which is Monday. That's a year ago that our house burned down. And yeah, so the reason I thought about that, I mean, it just popped into my head because during the break, I was thinking about some of the books that I was going to suggest to Iconis. Now I know that I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he's over in the Crusader Stadium chat, and if you want to join that, just head on over to crusadechannel.com and you will be able to find out how to do that. Erica, we still got to talk to Mike about getting you over there. But I was thinking about during the break, the couple of the books that I had, and I've mentioned these. I mentioned them last week, I think. When the Devil Dares Your Kids by Bob and Gretchen Passantino. They have passed away, but they used to work for the Christian Research Institute, which Hank Hanegraaff took over for Walter Martin. So the really famous book, Kingdom of the Cults, was written by Walter Martin, and then he's the one that started CRI, the Christian Research Institute. And then the Pasatinos worked for them, and they wrote that book. It's got a lot of great stuff. At the end, they kind of downplay some of the stuff at the end. It really bothered me because I didn't read it through until I was an adult. I just used to stare at all the pictures that they had in there of the pentagrams and the crescent moons and the upside down crosses and Pan and Gok, and all the different gods and stuff. And then Like Lambs to the Slaughter by Johanna Michelson. I'm trying to get her on the show. And then Tex Mars had a series of books. And what made me remember the fire was the fact that Tex Mars had 3 books that he wrote. And I had gotten all of these books from a friend that had given me a box of books. I mean, he didn't even know that I liked Tex Mars. But when I saw these books, I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. The first one is Dark Secrets of the New Age. The other one is Ravaged by the New Age. And then the third one is Mystery Mark of the New Age. Now, those were a trilogy of books that he wrote back in the 80s and early 90s that were all about, obviously, the New Age. And it was about how New Ageism was creeping into cartoons and current culture at that time, politics, schools, etc. It was all 3 books about that, and it was linked to Bible prophecy, etc. Now, I know that those are, yes, BD Gear. Walter E. Martin is the gentleman. But I know that all of those, that some of those are going to be Protestant works, but I do think that even our Catholic brothers and sisters can still gain from getting a snapshot of what the culture was like at the time. Right. And so those 5 books I would definitely suggest if you're wanting to see how the New Age movement in the 1980s and the Satanic Panic and all of that stuff, how it all played together. And then how now when we go to schools and people are manifesting, you have, The Secret, which was a huge popular book, which is all about manifestation. You have Jesus Calling. If you've ever heard of Jesus Calling, and I'm sure I'm going to offend a lot of people when I say this, but Jesus Calling was essentially written by remote writing. The woman who wrote Jesus Calling, Sarah Young, said that she would sit down with paper and a pencil and then just let it kind of dictate itself through her. That's remote writing. That's opening yourself up to spiritual issues and problems. You're opening yourself up to be a conduit, like a medium.
If it's real.
Yeah, but I mean that's what she claims. That's what she claims. I'm just going by what she says and by what remote writing is. Right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you're welcome to jump in there if you think I'm going off the deep end. I mean,
no, I don't think you're going off the deep end. I just don't know if it's real.
That's
I don't know if that's real. I mean, she says it's real, but
you're talking about you don't know if remote writing is real.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that type of writing is real. I think that I don't know.
I talk about this that my fascination with a lot of this stuff, and I'm fascinated also with Edgar Cayce. The Sleeping Prophet, who was essentially did the same thing. He was a Christian. He had a lot of works about Atlantis. He had a lot of works about health issues and problems. Like somebody would come, they would have a health problem or issue, and he would go into this trance. He would lie down, he would go to sleep, and then he would begin to talk. And the knowledge, he was from Kentucky too, the knowledge that he had and the information that he dictated and spoke was like medical knowledge and information on how people could heal themselves through different things. And it wasn't like medicine. It was, it was all kind of natural remedies and things like that. But he was in the same way doing a lot of that stuff. If you go to the Edgar Cayce Institute, they still publish the writings that he has. And people are always asking, I'm part of a Facebook group with it. People are always asking, what did he have to say about Lyme disease? What did he have to say about ingrown toenails? Or what did he have to say about, spiritual issues and such? And you can actually look up all of the things that were dictated by him, and people still read them. It's really, really crazy.
I don't disagree that he did all of that. I just wonder if maybe saying that it was dictated to you in some sort of trance state would would make it more acceptable. Because if you just said that kind of stuff, people would think you were crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying people should practice it. I'm fascinated by things like astral projection. But I've also talked to people. I mean, it's very dangerous because people are, and I understand where you're coming from. Your skepticism, which is perfectly healthy, because I'm a skeptic as well when it comes to that. But when you think about, like, if you're actually projecting your spirit out of your body, that means that you're interacting on a different plane, like you're in a
Okay.
different dimension.
Does it though? Okay, so here, this is just we are way off the deep end on this one, but you're this is science.
Uh-oh.
You are not your brain, and your brain is an active organ that, like any other organ in your body, fights for survival no matter what. It also doesn't know the difference between harm and non-harm, right? Like, you can feel pain, those are receptors. That's different than your brain deciding on its own to harm you, right? At which it will. It will fight for a state of what it has determined through habit is normal, and you are not your brain. There's a difference between your consciousness and what your brain has the power to convince you are thinking, feeling, going through, reacting to, and it's very difficult to overcome. Does that make sense?
I mean, keep going, please, because I'm fascinated now.
That's true. That's how it's one of the methods of trying to help people that have different forms of PTSD, that they have to be able to understand that their brain is going to fight against them to continue to live in a state that they have habitually felt safe, which is a new normal. And to go back to that, it's very hard to tell someone, hey, listen, that's not real. It's like a panic attack.
Huh. That's
You are physically having the manifestations of being panicked for no actual reason, and you know it. So
you
who's winning?
and
You or your brain?
that's true, because also you think so. Right now, a big thing for PTSD that they're trying to push through. It's still experimental, but there is some states are pushing the law through, and I think RFK supports it. I'm not sure, but it's the use of psychedelics
I
in
absolutely
PTSD.
believe and that can be for more than PTSD, by the way. Microdosing is an actual scientifically proven treatment.
But doesn't it do the same thing though? Like, you're not, okay, so you have a soldier that had an issue, PTSD from losing a friend in the war. Like,
It's not for everything. It really depends. There are different types of PTSD.
so how does it help? How would it help us? Because it sounds similar to what you just described. It's like, okay, you go into this microdose of psychedelics and you have an experience, but it's not a real experience, but somehow acting like it did or having it induced helps you get through it.
Okay, and you're talking about two different things. There are people out there, like Sean Ryan has a podcast that he does with a guy who had PASD that had an extreme psychedelic experience. And when it was over, he no longer had PTSD. That is, I don't know if that's replicable. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But microdosing for PTSD, from what I understand and the way that I understand the science, or the people that I know, because I'm not a doctor, okay? It's a leveling off. It's a control of the fight or flight mechanism in your brain that closes it. It helps you stay out of a state of adrenaline and panic. I don't I'm we need to find a doctor to come on and help us talk about it.
I think I added it to the show today. Was a disclaimer that nothing on here, because I thought I was going to mention vaccines, but like that nothing on here was supposed to be construed as health advice or anything. So you're good. You're covered.
Am
You
I
can say
good?
whatever you
I
want.
mean, I'm trying not. I'm not saying anything that I don't actually know to be true, and I'm probably not saying it medically correct in all ways, but I do believe that what they are finding in the realm of treating that is true.
So the disclaimer says this radio show is hold on. This radio show is for informational and entertainment purposes only and does not provide medical advice. The views expressed are personal opinions and not a substitute for professional medical care. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for any medical concerns. They were covered. We can say whatever
That's
we want.
perfect. That is perfect. Oh
So,
my God.
yeah, it's actually let's go ahead here since we'll do a nice segue and we'll jump into, of course, the most the fan favorite that everybody absolutely loves, and that is going to be our bad theology segment.
You're teaching some bad theology. Your bad theology's annoying me. Oh, you're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure that you need.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the bad theology segment where we talk about bad theology. I'm going to play this because Deb sent this over to me, and it does have to do with the occult and some weird stuff that was going on. So you said, Erica, that you didn't watch the Super Bowl. We watched the Super Bowl kind of like we were watching in and on our phones, nothing made, I'm sure, Bengals fans and probably 99.9% of America happier than to see the Chiefs just completely tank. They got railroaded. I mean, I was shocked. I was like, this is unbelievable to me, like watching this happen, but it was still really nice. But I think I found the reason why it happened, because there's been questions. What was it? What was the issue? What was the problem? What was going on with Mahomes? Why couldn't they get anything? Why couldn't Kelsey get any catches? Blah, blah, blah. Here's why. Here's somebody that was practicing a little bit of voodoo out there. This is a woman sitting in her stands, obviously not a Patrick Mahomes fan. She's got a voodoo doll with the number 15, and she's got a pin and just repeatedly poking this voodoo doll.
I mean, you are in New Orleans. You know, she probably picked that thing up in the French Quarter earlier that day.
Oh my gosh, it's just so funny. I'm going to read this for you, by the way, Erica. You got a compliment over in the Crusader Stadium chat room. By the way, you can listen to us on the Crusade channel as well, live radio the way it should be. He says, Iacona says, brain is a bodily organ that that unites the senses, but it is not the intellect, which a spiritual faculty, spiritual in the philosophical sense of the term, meaning metaphysically abstract being that is fully actual, as opposed to matter, which is the simplest form of being on its lower level of reality. Did you catch all that, Erica?
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And then he also goes on to say Erica had the most senses. So I guess you make more sense than I do. I'm not going to cry. And I'm not going to leave the show.
Don't cry.
I'm not going to leave the show. I'm not going to cry. He goes on to say, only because of Taylor Grift. Otherwise, I hate the Eagles as much.
Yeah. By the way, if you were the person who went with the seal, and I'm talking about like the actual aquatic seal that does Super Bowl picks, that was right the last 3 times that picked the Eagles, you're probably pretty happy this week.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There was a seal that picks it. Is it like the groundhog of football?
Yes, and he's been right the last 3 years in a row, and he picked the Eagles. And people were like, "Oh my God, that's crazy!" But the seal wins.
The seal. Did you see the seal commercial? That was the only commercial that had any funniness to it. And
I saw it the next day, and I'm sorry, I thought that was creepy as hell. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a good play on words or whatever you call that. But yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah, it was. I liked it because it was a Baja Blast. I am a big Baja Blast fan. Baja Blast Zero, of course. But I can't wait to see what sodas are going to taste like. Well, what a lot of sodas are going to taste like with no high fructose corn syrup. That doesn't mean they're healthy for you. It just means that they're not as bad.
People will be fine. They'll be fine.
No, we're not.
Do you want do you have a go? We have more bad theology, right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, go. I was going to break off into a total tangent, and I don't want to do
What?
that.
Tangent. Go
No,
on a
no,
tangent.
go.
All right.
It's
Okay.
not
Okay. All right. Crap. What was I going to do now?
Oh my God. All right, I'll tangent. I did learn something super cool this week. If anyone is interested in it, if you want to feel like maybe the world is going to be okay, I have hope for you. If you're not on TikTok, I don't really know what to do for you because I can't help you. But since I have a problem with it, there's a really cool thing. This 85-year-old man named Doug, he lives in Pennsylvania. His wife died last year sometime, not that long ago. Okay, so he walks across the street and gives his neighbor a handwritten invitation to Doug's winter party today, the 15th at 4 p.m. until the cops come. That's right. He's 85. And he said, until the cops come on the invitation. He invited all of his neighbors and handwrote all of these invitations. She posted this because she thought it was cute on her TikTok, and it went viral. There are potato chip sponsors, liquor sponsors. People are traveling to Doug's hometown in Pennsylvania. She's going to live stream Doug's winter party this afternoon at 4 p.m. That's Eastern time, so 3 p.m. Central. If you want to join in Doug's winter party live stream, you can. Her handle is at Meesher, at Meesher on TikTok. And you can go on her page and she's going to live stream Doug's winter party. And when I tell you, it's worldwide. Australia, Russia, Sweden, Finland, England. There's going to be people, and they have liquor sponsors.
Wow.
They have paper plate sponsors, potato chip sponsors. People saw this man inviting his neighbors to the coolest little winter party on the 15th of February from 4 p.m. until the cops come. There are videos of the cops, what cops are going. Like, it's huge. It's huge. If you want to go, you can.
That sounds incredible. Yeah, I wish I was in the area. I would stop by.
Right? Holly is. I tried to post it to Beaver. That's how I started it because I was like, oh my God, Beaver, this guy's in Pennsylvania. I'm going to jump on the live stream for sure. I mean, how much fun?
Yeah. And he's 85 years old, huh?
He's 85 years old, and they're going to, he just wanted to have a little winter party with his neighbors, and he drew little snowflakes on the invitations. 4 p.m. till the cops come. Come on.
Do it.
That's a rager. Who's not going? Everyone. The world is going, Doug. The world is going to your party today.
Happy birthday, Doug. Iacona says, depending on where in Pennsylvania, a winter party could be from October to June. How true is that? That's awesome.
It's just a very cool thing happening. So
yeah, Deb says that Michael Bublé is going to Doug's winter party.
I'm telling you, it's worldwide. It went viral, and it's cute as hell, and I'm there for it.
That is awesome. All right, well, let's jump in here to some of this bad theology stuff here, and let's see what we've got going on. There was this week a post. I'm seeing a lot of these posts come up, and this is where I'm probably really going to piss a lot of people off. I see a lot of these posts happening lately, and I just need to address this because I was also called out and told I was not a Christian this week. And it was mainly because my political beliefs differed from a particular person's political beliefs. Online now, this is from years ago, but it was rehashed, and I saw it, and I was like, this needs to be addressed because this tends to be something that people focus on a lot. This is from lifenews.com. It says, it's Taylor Swift says, I'm a Christian, and people with real Christian values support abortion. She goes on in this article, of course. It says here that Taylor Swift seems to believe that she can be a Christian and support the killing of unborn babies and abortion. It says in a new Netflix documentary about her life, Miss Americana Swift insisted that she is a Christian, even though she promotes political causes that go against Christian teaching, CBN News reports. The celebrity has been increasingly vocal about her political beliefs over the last several years. In August, so this is back in 2020, I'm assuming, she told The Guardian that she supports legalized abortion. A year earlier, she endorsed Phil Bredesen in the Tennessee state race against Republican Marsha Blackburn, who is a leading pro-life advocate. And in the documentary, she talked about the moment when she decided to become more vocal politically. She says she was trying to explain her political beliefs, an endorsement of Phil Bredesen, whatever. This was a situation where, from a humanity perspective and from what my moral compass was telling me I needed to do, I knew I was right, and I really didn't care about repercussions. Now, I know that obviously we were talking about the Super Bowl and Taylor Swift. The reason that I'm bringing this up, not necessarily because of her, but because there is this understanding, this idea, I should say, that if you support abortion, or if you are, lean towards communism, or you have a more liberal approach to politics, that you're somehow excluded from the family of God and you cannot call yourself a Christian. And this is where it's probably going to blow up. So I'm ready, Iconos. The gospel has never changed. It's always been justification by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ alone, going all the way back to Abraham. Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. In the New Testament, if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus, you believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you will be saved, right? There is the gospel message that is by grace through faith alone. You are a Christian because you repent of your sins and put your faith, trust, and hope in Jesus. Period. If you think abortion should be legalized, you're wrong. You're very wrong, right? If you believe that transgenderism and that the LGBT ideology is good for children, you can believe that. You're wrong, but that does not mean you're not a Christian. So if somebody is out there and they're throwing these accusations towards you that, if you support abortion, you can't be a Christian, you can just tell that person, here's why I'm a Christian, and give them the gospel. And again, this does not mean that I support those things. It simply means that you can be a Christian and have unbiblical viewpoints and ideas. It's really crazy. All right, folks, I'm going to take a quick break. Well, we are, because Erica's here too. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk more about bad theology, field your comments on this conversation, and more. Don't forget to check out crusadechannel.com. Live radio the way it should be. You can look into being part of the chat over there as well. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. There we are. So do you think I torqued some people off out there, Erica? Do you think you're going to get a lot of comments and messages this week?
I mean, you're supporting Taylor Swift. Now you're calling her a Christian when we know she's a Satanist. I just can't even.
Well, I don't know. Okay, now I will say I don't necessarily want to say that she is a Christian, but I will say that you can be a Christian and have some stupid or unbelievably non-biblical ideas. And that is just, I mean, that is my limited. I'm not a pastor. I did not go to seminary. I don't even have a college degree. I just graduated high school, barely.
I mean, you can't be Catholic if you don't agree with that. Like, right? I mean, yeah.
When you don't agree with what? What are you talking about? Like if that
what you just said. Like, you can be Christian and have some very flawed ideas. You can be wrong, flat out wrong about things and still be a Christian. Like, if you don't agree with that statement, you can't be Catholic.
I can see that. I can see that. But I mean, I guess what my problem with that goes along with what makes you a Christian. Is it good theology that makes you a Christian? Is it a full understanding of every or of every or a limited number of doctrinal beliefs?
No way. I think you can be a Christian with having zero knowledge of the Bible.
Exactly.
You don't even know you're a Christian. That doesn't mean you're not one.
I guarantee you, though.
I mean,
Please,
well,
please.
Watson would say different, but
Well, Watson is welcome to come on here. Sorry, folks. Thanks for staying with us during that break. We were kind of yapping back and forth there, but some folks are posting some stuff over in the Crusader Stadium chat, and some folks are posting some stuff here in the chat. Let's go through the Rumble chat here. Let's see. Oh, Deb says, "Oh heavens, here we go again with Taylor Swift." It was a positive statement about Taylor Swift. It wasn't me saying, just bashing her at all. I mean, I wasn't. I know that she takes up a lot of the cultural conversation right now. I mean, honestly, Taylor Swift is to the entertainment industry what Donald Trump is to politics. You can't have a conversation about entertainment.
is she? That's
I
so
think so.
sad.
It's not, it doesn't speak to her talent. It just speaks to how ubiquitous she is right now. I mean, because even the people who don't listen to Taylor Swift and don't appreciate her music still had to put up with her because she was every time that she went to a football game, she was out there, bam, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I mean, good on them. If they're happy, let them be happy. But like, she was just everywhere, not because she's super talented, I don't think, but just because everybody's talking about her. All right, move on to the next.
Yeah. You know how I feel. I just flat out do not like her. I don't think she has any redeeming value in any way, shape, or form. Taylor Swift is to red lipstick as the penny is to our monetary system. Useless. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We move on before you get me in trouble.
It's not only her. I see this a lot. If somebody posts something that says, "Hey, we should love, the LGBT folks. We should love them. We should show them grace. We should show them kindness. We should treat them. We should love our neighbor as ourselves." And people say, "You can't be a Christian." Well, I'm sorry that you believe that, but you're absolutely wrong. Let's go on here. This is an interesting one as well. So we saw that Donald Trump started this Christian coalition thing, and his spiritual advisor is a woman by the name of Paula White. If you don't know much about Paula White, you're very lucky. Unfortunately, I know more about Paula White than what I want to know about her. I used to be a big fan of hers back in my Pentecostal days, but she's married, by the way, to Jonathan Cain, who is the keyboardist and backup guitarist for Journey. And I just thought that was pretty interesting when I found that out. But anyway, so in the Israeli Times, it says that this is back a couple years ago. It says here that she says that we can learn from Jews. She went to Israel to study the Torah and to learn from rabbinic Jews. And then she also stated that we don't need to convert them to Christianity. From the Jerusalem Post, it says, Paul the Apostle made it very clear that God extended his love to the Gentiles, but he did not take something from the Jews and tell us to go back and course correct or convert them, White told the Jerusalem Post. She said, "I do not want to convert Jews or send them to Israel for the rapture. The plan for salvation for the Jews is God's." Now, I know that Catholic or Protestant, we're gonna be united on the fact that folks who do not believe in Jesus, obviously the Jews here, in this situation, this isn't anti-Semitic. This is just simply saying that if you're a preacher of the gospel and you say, "Oh, we don't have to preach to this particular people group because they're completely different, they're more special than we are," then that's really, really bad theology. And when you have something like that, when you have something of great error like this, she's a spiritual advisor to the president. And it makes you take pause to think the understanding of this, the prosperity gospel teaching that she has, which says you're supposed to be healthy, wealthy, and completely blessed, etc. She teaches those things, and she is actually the advisor to the president. This is very concerning to people, and it should be.
Okay. I mean, have we had a president with a spiritual advisor that we agreed with?
I don't know. Did Barack Obama have a spiritual advisor?
He was Muslim, wasn't he?
And he wasn't born here. He wasn't born in Hawaii.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Aren't we all supposed to? I feel like those remarks are they taken out of context? I think you've probably looked at this more than I have, so I shouldn't be questioning it. But
Oh, no, please question. Don't
were her comments on that made in terms of something else? Like, what should our approach be when it comes to the conflict between Israel and the rest of the region? Well, we shouldn't be trying to tell them how. I don't know. I don't know.
So
Because it's concerning, but I mean, who really listens to their spiritual advisor?
I will be your spiritual advisor, people who listen to the breakdown.
Right. I mean, you have to have one because you're in the White House. And if you don't have one, then it looks like maybe you're not spiritual enough to be in the White House. So you have to have a spiritual advisor. But,
I think Billy Graham
know.
was the spiritual advisor to a lot of presidents up until I think all the way up till Clinton.
Yeah, and Reagan had psychics over at the White House. I mean, why are we? It's just not that concerning to me.
There is, I think Tex Mars. Well, I know it's Tex Mars. Circle of Intrigue, a book that he wrote, said that after Ronald Reagan was shot in the head, that they implanted something in his brain and made him essentially a zombie, and that all the decisions were being made behind the scenes. Said he actually didn't make any of the real decisions, but that's a different conversation. So to answer your question, there is, especially in Protestantism, there is an elevation of the Jewish nation to a godlike status. And that's where a lot of our foreign policy comes from. The understanding that we have to support Israel, because if you don't support Israel, you're not going to be blessed of God. If you don't stand behind them as the chosen people of God and do essentially whatever they ask for them, then you're not going to be a blessed nation. And many people tie our cultural decline and economic decline to the fact that we have not supported Israel. Whenever there's a president, that's why it's such a big deal that when Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I mean, he was getting himself into a mess that he does not comprehend. He doesn't understand what he's doing over there. But that was it was a show of support for this nation. I mean, there is some very dangerous theologies that are being taught. Here's one of them. This is from years ago. This is John Hagee. For those of you who study theology or end times, you're going to come across a man by the name of John Hagee. I've been to his church in San Antonio, by the way. Again, back when I was into Pentecostalism, etc. But this is a commercial he did for a book that he wrote called "In Defense of Israel," and it is quite disturbing.
I'm delighted to present my latest book, In Defense of Israel. This book will expose the sins of the fathers and the vicious abuse of the Jewish people. In Defense of Israel will shape Christian theology. It scripturally proves that the Jewish people as a whole did not reject Jesus as Messiah. It will also prove that Jesus did not come to earth to be the Messiah. It will prove that there was a Calvary conspiracy between Rome, the high priest, and Herod to execute Jesus as an insurrectionist too dangerous to live. Since Jesus refused by word and deed to claim to be the Messiah, how can the Jews be blamed for rejecting what was never offered? Read it in this shocking expose, In Defense of Israel.
This latest book by Pastor John Hagee.
So that was John Hagee, and you can see the errors there. It says that Jesus did not come to be the Messiah. It says that the Jews as a people did not reject Jesus as Messiah. And it says that since Jesus did not come and claim in word or deed to be the Messiah, that Israel cannot be responsible for rejecting him. I mean, that if there's ever been a heretical understanding of the teaching of Jesus or the position of Israel, it's that. I mean, and he is still extremely popular. His son, I think he retired. He's like pastor emeritus, and his son took over. And it's the same unfortunate theology being taught. Now, this doesn't go to the Palestinian Jewish debate. It doesn't get into that. It just simply gets into an understanding of the gospel and whether or not the Jews should hear it, and they should. And having somebody like Paula White or John Hagee say that's really, really bad theology.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with that from a perspective of yeah, like they're not absolved from not believing that Jesus is the Son of God, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some intrinsic differences that are just there, people, and you're not going to change that. But I don't ever think that I don't think it's meant to be threatening. Like, are we really saying that we think in 4 years or however long that the policy in the United States is going to be affected by her? Maybe, but what is she really gonna do?
I honestly don't know. I mean, even if she does, like, what kind of access is she going to have? How
I mean,
often are
she's
they around one another? That kind of thing. Yeah, it's
right.
just. I mean, pointing that out, because what that does is it's almost like a celebrity endorsement. If Trump says, "Hey, she's my spiritual advisor," then people are like, "Oh, who's Paula White? Well, I'm going to look her up. Wow, she's a very dynamic speaker. She is. She's a very dynamic, charismatic speaker." But the theology that she's teaching, people might be led astray by it because of Donald Trump's seeming endorsement, because she's his spiritual advisor. So it's a warning to people. Hey, there's bad theology here. Big X, be careful. Don't go there.
Okay, so you are correct. You are correct. I just caution people that not why is it that when it comes to Trump, it's Trump's fault, right? He shouldn't be supporting someone who has that viewpoint as a spiritual advisor because it might be seen as an endorsement. How about you're responsible for looking into the people that your leaders are having as advisors and deciding whether or not you endorse them?
Right? That's a very, very salient point.
I just wonder, right? Like, we can lay it all on the person who's making the bad decision, but if you're the one following that bad decision just out of the fact that you look up to the person or you think the person that I don't know, be responsible for your own think. Gosh, come on, people.
And I do agree with you 100%. I think the reason that, and I need to be careful of this, because I do lay a lot of weight and responsibility on people that recommend things, right? Pastors who recommend certain teachers or teachings. You'll warn against that. I don't want to be too weighted where I blame Trump necessarily. I do say you got to be careful what you say.
For sure.
Regardless of who you are, right? I mean, like it goes back to the whole Taylor Swift thing. Yes, I'm bringing her up again. It goes back to celebrities that have huge followings. When they make endorsements or they stand behind a particular product or something, then the reason they do that is because it makes people want to support that cause or that product. So it is careful. You're absolutely right, Erica. We have the responsibility to make sure that we don't just dive headfirst into a person's theology and teaching without thoroughly understanding and examining that. Absolutely. And that could be politics. It could be games. It could be whatever. Just name
It could be anything. You could be the Pope and you're telling me things that I still should be researching on my own. And now we're getting into the infallibility of the Pope. And I'm sorry, everyone over on the Crusade channel, but you know, yeah, I don't want to make people angry, but come on. The Pope is not infallible. He basically told us we could absolve ourselves of our sins because of some fake disease and socialist bull that he bought into and supported and open up the Vatican. I'm done.
So do you know that young adult sexlessness skyrocketed in the last decade while male virginity doubled?
Wow.
You know why? That's because it coincides with the release of Call of Duty. It says that the share of young adults who say they have not had sex in the last year has skyrocketed in the past decade, while the virginity rate for young adult males has more than doubled, according to recent data. Examining findings from the National Survey of Family Growth Institute for Family Studies Senior Gosh, that's a long title. All measures of sexlessness rose for both young adult males and females between an initial survey wave conducted in 2013 to 15 and the most recent wave conducted between 2022 and 23. It says that the dominant majority of young adults surveyed reported having had sex at some point in their lives. Nearly a quarter of adult males reported not having had sex in the last year, nearly triple the 9% who said the same thing 10 years ago. About 13% of young females said they hadn't had sex in the last year, up from 8% in the initial survey. Let's see. So that's interesting. I mean, we should be happy that it's declining, of course, that virginity rates are doubling. That's really good. Hopefully these young men are seeing that. Hopefully it's not a decline in the testosterone. We know it is that are causing men not to approach women.
Okay, it might be partially what a decline in the testosterone, maybe, right? But it's also, have we forgotten that these crazy women in this country have started making men sign contracts before they go on a date? Like I'd stay away from that too. Let's not forget that they made dating crazy. Okay, like you had to, you couldn't even meet up for coffee without signing a contract.
And and it's I'm glad that we see that the virginity rates are doubling. That's great because people are not running out and engaging in sexual activity with people. Now, is it the Clinton thing? Is it what was it called, the Clinton effect? Is it what that depends on what the word sex is or what is.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they looked at Chelsea. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Oh boy, that's a rough one.
I really thought that's where you were going, and I was like, whoa, okay.
So here's another one. This is we've only got a little bit of time left here. We've really spent a lot of, I don't know, today feels like a good day. I feel like a good show today.
Don't we have like 12 minutes left? Is my clock right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
So by the way, you can listen to us on the Crusade channel, live rated the way it should be. You can also check out Mike Church's show, which comes on YouTube every day, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Please don't yell if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure I'm right. 7 a.m. Eastern time. Oh, King Dude has joined the conversation over on the Rumble chat. I don't know if that's because he's going to address some of your things, Erica, some of your statements. However, his show does come on YouTube, 7 a.m. Eastern time every day. Make sure you check that out. A lot of great truth coming out of that program every day over there. And you can also let them know that you hear us over on the Crusade channel. And much appreciation to the folks who have joined us over on the chat there and also on the chat here on Rumble. Don't forget to like us at aaronbarker.substack.com. Eric is still working on a Substack, which is great. And as we said at the beginning of the show, big announcement, a good announcement this time, is that we're going to be launching a midweek show by the end of February. I can't believe I said that live.
I can't either.
We're so screwed. So we're going to be launching a show by the end of February, and it's going to be a subscriber-based show. So you're going to have to subscribe. You think it gets wild here. I can only imagine what it's going to be like over there with no commercials and just Erica going on tangent after tangent. We might just call it Erica's Tangent Hour.
No, see if we need to stop the tangents.
The Sour Hour. We'll call it the Sour Hour. Sour
We
notes.
will not call
Sour
it
news.
the sour. No.
Don't be so sour.
Oh
man, yeah. The King Dude said Hagee is NVTS nuts. Oh man. So all right. So there's that. All right. Now here's North Dakota GOP lawmakers introduce a bill to acknowledge the kingship of Jesus Christ. Bill cites Old and New Testament passages stating Christ's authority over nations. Just days after President Trump referred to Americans as a people ordained by God, lawmakers in North Dakota are proposing a bill that would officially recognize the kingship of Jesus Christ. House Concurrent Resolution 3020, co-sponsored by a group of Republican state representatives and senators led by Representative Nika Rios of Williston, advocates for the belief that Jesus Christ holds dominion not only in the spiritual realm, but also over civil affairs, asserting his power over the governance of the state and of the world. citing passages such as Matthew 28:18, where Jesus declares all power is given to me in heaven and in earth, and Daniel 7:14, which predicts Christ's ultimate authority over all nations. The resolution states that acknowledging Christ's kingship is not merely a religious statement, but one that has profound implications for how the state of North Dakota and the nation as a whole approach issues of governance, justice, and liberty. And what's your sour note on this, Erica?
I don't mind. I feel bad that they had to do it that way. Don't all states pretty much have a constitution that somewhat says that? Why, or at least explains what the state's governance procedures, thoughts, ideology is? Why? I think it's sad you have to say it. I thought the whole country was founded on that belief, but
Yeah, here's what I always love, and I love bringing this up, is when people are like, "Oh, well, Jesus isn't my king." Jesus, well, yeah, actually, he is. You may not. It's like people when they say, "Well, Donald Trump's not my president." Yeah, he is. He is your president, just like Biden was our president for 4 years.
right.
Christ
I mean,
is
it's
king over all nations. He's your king, whether or not you acknowledge it or not. And one day, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. So you might want to do it now and get on the good side. Like, get on the good side of the universe. I mean, that's just my personal take.
oh my god, just might want to get on the right side. I can't. Yeah, a little forethought is good. I mean, although according to you, as long as you could be on your deathbed and just be a little frightened and say, "I believe," and you're good.
You try to trigger people. We have
No, that's no, not at all.
technically correct. Technically correct. Um,
I said you. I clarified that. No, you're right. It's like me saying that that's not my pope, right? Hashtag not my pope. I post that stuff all the time on some tweets I put out. I'm like hashtag not my pope, right? But whether I like it or not, he's the pope. Like me saying he's not my pope really doesn't change the fact that he's the pope.
I think Mel Gibson would differ with you on that. Iaconis, by the way, did say over here, he said, let's see, this Pope has not issued anything infallible. He said that. He said also, this guy is terrible. I can't bring myself to call him Pope.
Right. It's very difficult. It is really hard. It is one of my greatest challenges is wondering what happened. It also, however, though, has made me dive much deeper into the Vatican itself, which is terrifying. So there's that.
Have you ever studied the Alta Vendita conspiracy?
Not in depth, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to put together some stuff on that to talk about that. I just want to say I have a novice understanding of it, but essentially it's the Freemasonry plan to take over the Catholic Church, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty incredible. There's a book that's called the Alta Vendita Conspiracy, and it's written by, I'm typing in, I'm trying to find it on my computer real quick.
You know what I've learned, though? Calling something a conspiracy usually means it's real.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
That's why they call it a conspiracy. And that's why I say I'm now living in the rabbit hole, because I believe that the conspiracies I thought were crazy are all real and they're my reality now. So jumping out of the rabbit hole into the land of what I believe are the conspiracies
Yeah.
is like now that's crazy town. Like seriously, watching the press gaslight themselves, I it's unreal. I just don't even know which timeline I want to be on.
Just leave the Matrix. The King Dude, by the way, I'm going to read this on air because he wrote it and I'm going to read it. Mike Church himself says, today's show was great. Chemtrails, DOGE, Zionism, and how single cat ladies have ruined dating. Yes, I'm a Break T Radio fan. I've got it in writing now. He said it. I've got it in writing. And then, Iaconis says Masons have succeeded and the King Dude called them bastards. That's, but it is like, I'll send you the book too. Just remind me, I'm going to forget, but I'm actually writing an article for Conspiracy 101 about that, because that's how these that's how these secret societies take over. They infiltrate already established. That's what the Illuminati did. The Bavarian Illuminati with Adam Weishaupt. They although Masonry was still a cult, they used the connections of Masonry and they created an even smaller cabal of rich elitists. And then they inserted themselves into the Masonic order. They rose to the ranks of that. And then it's a secret society that exists within a secret society. And many people will say, well, the Masons aren't bad. That's because the majority of folks get to the Blue Lodge, which is the third degree of Masonry, and they don't go any deeper. When you start studying it and looking into the occultic mystical Eastern mystical origins of it, it really is just phallus worship. I mean, it's just phallic worship, and it's a conglomeration of all kinds of different faiths and teachings. The all-seeing eye, all that stuff from Egyptian teachings, etc., is infiltrated in there. But then these groups will find a larger, more established, like the Catholic Church, an established organization that has credibility and a following worldwide, and then they insert themselves into that, and then they start changing doctrine. And it's just like the communists that got into the government here in the United States. You infect it with your disease, and then it comes out through little small incremental steps, which destroy the foundations and teachings of institutions. Gifted Guru, by the way, said that his spiritual advisor is a ghost.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
And Deb said that all the soy in our food is lowering testosterone in men.
Wait, hold on. You left out the end of that quote did you do that on purpose?
What? From whose?
From Guru. It says, my spiritual advisor is a ghost.
Oh,
the Holy One.
I didn't even see that. Oh, the whole.
That's kind of important.
Sorry, my bad.
That's kind of
kind of an important one right there. Yeah,
that's a bit of a distinction, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I should have been. My bad, Guru. You did say the Holy
I thought you were trying to start a fight. I was like, wait, what? Why'd you leave that out?
That's what I do. I only tell half truths. That way, I get people to pay attention to me. That's how I work. I just
listen. Your troll level badge is now expert. Okay, troll level expert, right? And I don't even know. It's almost like if someone sees a notification on their Facebook or on their social media that just says Aaron Barker posted, and they're angry. They don't even read it. They're just angry.
Yeah, I've got a couple folks like that. I've got a couple people that I can depend on that I know when I post something, I'm like, I'm going to hear from them.
They make me laugh, though. I tell you every time. They make me laugh.
I did let it get to me this week a little bit too much, and that was my fault. And Allison pointed it out to me. My brother was asking me about it, and I was like, oh, well, I enjoy it. I always have enjoyed being challenged like that because it makes me think. It keeps me on my toes. I actually had a story I wanted to cover, and we talk about this ad nauseum, but it is a study about, or it's just an article about whether or not AI is making us dumb and destroying our critical thinking. I know your opinion on that. My opinion was probably the same thing. But I agree that well, the reason I bring that up now towards the end of the show is because I have to keep my mind going. Like, you challenging me on the show, people in the chat challenging me on my understanding of stuff. All of that is important for each of us because it makes us think. It gets the juices flowing. You have to think like that. If you're constantly relying on AI for everything, you're going to get dumb. All right, folks, that's it for the show today. We might hang out for a few minutes of overdrive. If we do, you can head on over to Rumble for that. Thank you again to the King Dude and everybody over at the Crusade channel. Thanks to everybody who's hanging out with us here on the chat in Rumble as well. Go to aaronbarker.substack.com. Make sure to subscribe there and stay tuned for the new show coming soon. See you next time. And until then, make Christ supremely valuable. Oh, boy, what a show. Does anybody over in the Crusader Stadium chat room? I accidentally clicked on something to private message somebody, and I didn't want to. It was an accident, and I can't get the private messenger to go away. So if you could still hear me, if you could type in there, how do I make that messenger go away without like refreshing or logging out? Please let me know.
I love these comments in the chat. Jay Sparkle says, I'm not angry when I see the notification, but I do go check it immediately. And then Oh God, what was the other one? Deb says, like you saying Jesus hates the Chiefs. Seriously, like I see these things and I just go, oh, here we go. Here we go.
Well, you know
Right?
what that it. Oh, thanks, S. Resnick. They told me how to do it. Yeah. So, like, I can't remember when I said that. Did I say? I think I said that in the chat.
Yeah, you did. And you posted on your page, Jesus hates the Chiefs.
Oh
What?
man.
What? God, why? It's expert. It's expert level trolling, and you keep going. I may get involved at one point.
Oh, please do, because Mel gets involved.
Mm,
Melissa
mm-mm.
Sippy, she gets involved over there.
Oh, you don't
And
want me to get involved with that.
and Brian used to get it. Like Brian will occasionally. He did get involved a couple of times, but he really doesn't engage too much on those.
Well, that's because Brian's overall intellectual superiority and big brain are too outclassed for that type of petty discussion. Wait, are we still live everywhere?
We're live in enough places.
Oh, God. We should probably not. We should probably stop now for today.
Oh boy. And with that, all right, y'all. Don't go anywhere, Erica. I am going to end the stream, but I will. Everybody else have a great day. Oh man.